everybody. Welcome to this episode of
I love that.
That's a good intro.
It's a great intro.
Series I do with Jeff Gunsberg, partner at Title Connect, founder for all your title needs. And we're talking to Brenda Meller today. Brenda, it's great. I think you've been on the show probably, 5-10 times over the last 7 years. You're always a great.
I get a jacket at some point, don't I?
Yeah, you need like an
you
SNL
do.
jacket.
Yeah.
Always enjoy talking with you because I think you do one of the most important things when it comes to marketing, and that is working with people to set up, grow, scale, and monetize their LinkedIn pages. I've used you multiple times to help me with mine, and you've been great. Today, we want to talk about, Jeff and I, what are you good at, and how did you really figure out that you were good at this? So many people are trying to figure it out, and we want to do this series to help. And so, how did you figure it out?
Yeah, well,
anything to add before Brenda dives in?
You know what? I just really wonder, like with LinkedIn, how, it's really specific for you. Like, how did that happen that you were like, oh my God, and I'm going to be the LinkedIn guru. Like, that's going to be my thing. Yeah. Because I've had you on with my sales team, and we've had conversations, and I really wonder how you got to that place where you just identified that was your thing.
Yeah. I got lucky, I think, really, is what it came down to. Back in the day, I was anti-social media. When social media first came on, and all my friends are like, oh, you got to be on this Facebook. I'm like, why would you want to go on Facebook and share your life? Like, that just, to me, seemed really weird. Why would you want to reconnect with people that you haven't seen in years? Why do you want to show your family? Like, that to me just seems like an invasion of privacy. That you were doing it openly. And then this thing called LinkedIn came along, and LinkedIn came along, if you recall, like a year or two after Facebook came up. And at the time, everybody was getting the same message into their email. I'd like to invite you to join my professional network on LinkedIn, was the standard LinkedIn message at the time. And I kind of ignored it for a while. And then I think it was the one that prompted me was somebody I really respected in marketing who I worked with. She was one of my mentors at work, and she sent me an invite, and I'm like, what's this LinkedIn thing? And she told me about it. She's like, well, it's professional networking, and it's a way to connect with people from across different industries. And we worked in marketing. And I've always been really passionate about marketing, but I've also been an introvert at heart my entire life. And that doesn't mean I don't like speaking. It just means I get nervous, especially speaking in front of groups. And after I do speak, I energize by being not around people. That's how I energize. Whereas extroverts get energized from being around people. So for me, LinkedIn was a safe way to enter into the social media space. Even though it's professional, it's still social media. And it wasn't something where I needed to share photos of my family and my life story. It was more just the things that I did from a work perspective. So I leaned into it pretty early on, and I got on the platform in 2006. In 2008, I was in a corporate job that I knew there was no more potential for movement up. So I wanted to make a change. And if you all remember, 2008 in Michigan was the worst time to think about making a career change because of the economic collapse that was happening at the time. Right. And thousands of people every day were being laid off. I had a long commute. At the time, I just had one child, but it was a 1-hour commute each way with a young child. And I had no time to look for a job. And I hated Monster and hot jobs. I'm like, I'm not doing it again. So I decided to lean into LinkedIn, stepped on my efforts a bit, disconnected from my boss and the president of the company. They weren't very active, but I didn't want them to see what I was doing. And I started applying to jobs through LinkedIn. And one day this job came up that was, it was my dream job. And I made a connection with the hiring manager. I got into his email inbox because of that connection that I made with him. And he said within a week or so, he had 300 applicants for the position, but mine was the first one he looked at because I emailed him. So I got into his inbox, and I was like, oh my gosh, this is going to be a game changer for the job market. And I got ahead of it. And once I landed in that new job, our organization was doing work to support people who are unemployed. And I did a social media for job seekers workshop series. And I just started really enjoying teaching LinkedIn to others. And I guess the rest is really history.
So when did you
Yeah. Sorry, John. Go
No,
ahead.
go ahead. No, go.
Did you like so? But how did like in your own mind, like how did you like identify like you jump from like seeing like a need, right? Like to like specifically saying like I'm gonna jump in and like in teach people link. Like what was
it
the
wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't just like one dot.
right? It wasn't like like what was that?
Yeah, so for me, I've
progression?
always been a marketer, and I identified really in high school, I loved marketing. I was in DECA competitions, and I went to school for business, and took my first marketing class. It was like everything lit up for me. So marketing is really like, how do you connect with your ideal target audience? How do you connect your company with your ideal target audience? And how do you, whether it's advertising, public relations, social media, there's all these different channels. So for me, it was like LinkedIn was this network that we could use to connect to our ideal target audience, whether as a job seeker, as hiring managers and things like that, or as an organization to connect with our customers and referral partners and things like that. So for me, it was really, I was kind of connecting the dots that I saw. And then I was showing other people, because they're like, how'd you do that? When everyone heard I got my job through LinkedIn without using Monster Hot, they're like, how did you do that? So I told them. And then I had to use LinkedIn as an employee of the company working in the marketing department. So I had to use LinkedIn in a different way. So I started posting and, I was managing the social media properties for the company. So I just figured out how to do it. And for me, I've always had a really great ability to share what I learned for others and be like an ambassador of whatever that software or application is.
So I have a question, Brenda. So let's talk about connecting with your ideal audience. So you're talking this year, you started your business what year?
So I formed my LLC in 2016, and I really went full time when I left corporate at the end of 2017, starting in the beginning of 2018.
Okay. So 2017, 2018,
7 years ago.
7-ish years ago. So LinkedIn has changed a ton. It's grown a ton since then.
Yeah.
I would say I love LinkedIn. This is not a knock, but it's a lot noisier. There's a lot of people catching on to being educators and sharing information and sharing content way more than back in 7-ish years ago. And so how do you guide people in what you do to stick out, to connect with their audience, to really, really connect? And that's my first question. My second question is, how many times do they need to see something that you've posted before they even know you're posting?
Yeah, that's a great question. So how do you kind of focus on it amidst all of the noise? I'm going to use an analogy because I love analogies.
I like analogies too.
I like to do yoga. Someday I'd love to teach yoga. I'm not there yet, but I go to yoga classes, and there's this point in the yoga class where you have to like tune out everything. And it's really, really hard to tune out everything because you're thinking of this to-do list. What am I eating for dinner afterwards? What time's this class meeting? Like all this stuff. But once you can quiet your mind, you can really focus on the things that are important to you. And LinkedIn as a site is designed to help you meander. So you got to come in knowing this site is being built to bring me in on the homepage and navigate over here and then click over here and do this and do that and do that. So what I teach people is to think about, even before you open up LinkedIn, what are your goals for using LinkedIn? And then have a plan when you go into the site. I've actually got a blog, and I'll share that link with you, John. But it's like when you go into LinkedIn, here are the things that I recommend that you do. These are the things that I do. And depending on how much time you have, you can work further down the list. But you have to go in with a plan. And in terms of the amount of noise and the site, I mean, gosh, they're up to 1 billion plus members. I remember when I first joined, it was probably
1 billion?
Billion. And when I was first getting active, it was like 300,000, 400,000. So I got really lucky in that I got super active on LinkedIn and started teaching LinkedIn at a time when the network was really starting to gain a lot of traction. And it's still a great network. But
I just want to say one thing. I don't want to interrupt you, but you got in because I started working with you, I think, right when you started your company. But you got in when people were like, what would I possibly need a LinkedIn? I'm not saying people thought like this, but like, do I need a LinkedIn coach? And now I think people think, oh God, I really need a LinkedIn coach. Right.
I would love to think that people need a LinkedIn. I mean, a lot of times they don't think they need a LinkedIn coach. But a lot of times when people are being approaching me or they're being referred to me, they're like, I don't think I'm doing everything I can on LinkedIn, or it's not working for me and I see it working for other people. So what am I doing wrong, or what am I missing out on?
Yeah.
And the thing for me is like, all I do is LinkedIn. When I first started my business, I was doing social media management, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, LinkedIn, YouTube. I was doing everything. I was doing websites. I was doing logos. And then when I got super focused on just specializing in LinkedIn, like I spend all of my time on LinkedIn. So I go super deep into understanding the algorithm. I surround myself with other people who are specializing in LinkedIn coaching and training. And we're always sharing insights with each other because LinkedIn is really bad as it relates to sharing feature updates or features that are retiring. So we tell each other, we share notes with each other. So being that this is the single network that I focus in on, I can go super deep into that knowledge. And then that's where I can help people. I always tell people I meet you where you are on LinkedIn, and then I'll help to guide you to where you need to go.
So how did you know though that like you kind of preempted my question a little bit, but like how'd you know that LinkedIn was more, like LinkedIn is known as the professional networking, arena,
Right.
but like, how'd you know that like, Facebook, Instagram was not part of something that you wanted to be like, like handling all, the whole gamut and just wanted to specifically focus on LinkedIn?
So from a business perspective, I figured out that it was just taking me way too much time to figure out the Facebook algorithm, the Instagram changes, the TikTok. Like you had, and being a team of one, I didn't really want to grow an agency and have teams, working under. I'd wanted just to be a
Sure.
solopreneur, but scale my business that way. So I figured
Right.
out there's only one of me. I can't clone myself. What I'm really passionate about is LinkedIn, and that's what really lights me up. The other sites I have a presence on in case people stumble across me there, but I always refer them back to LinkedIn as my top and my primary network. And from a personal perspective, I ended up having to get on Facebook because I was managing our company's Facebook page at the time. But also through the years, we've seen a lot of people leaving Facebook because of, what's happening in the world. They're just getting fed up with it, a lot of different reasons. And the people that remain on Facebook are getting, a lot, their circles are a lot tighter. I don't know about all of you, but over the past couple of years, I've pruned my friend list to people who I share values with, that I feel comfortable sharing my family pictures with. And I do share some business information on there as well. And business pages aren't getting as much reach anymore on there. But I always tell people LinkedIn is kind of like today's Yellow Pages. Remember back in the day when we wanted to look up a company, we went to the Yellow. That was like the place we went.
And you're like looking through this book.
Yeah. And you're like, what category are they under? And then it was websites, and everybody had to have a website to be legitimate. If you don't have a website, you got to get a web. And then it was mobile friendly websites and all this stuff. But like LinkedIn nowadays, if somebody says, hey, you should do business with Jeff Gunsberg, he's a great guy, and I've just met you, I barely know who you are, and you're I'm going to look up Jeff on LinkedIn. I'm going to see, oh, he's connected to Jon Dwoskin. I'm going to reach out to Jon, and I'll be like, who's this Jeff character? Is he like legit? Because I'm thinking about handing money over to this guy.
Completely legit. Great guy.
Who is he? Who are you?
Who is he really? And LinkedIn has now become a professional business directory, and there's such a high degree of reliability because we manage our own LinkedIn profiles. It's not like it's being scraped by a database and information is being put in there. So that's why it's really important to make sure that your LinkedIn profile is updated. You're looking at it regularly to making sure information is accurate in there, and it's easy for people to do business with you as well.
Yeah. Brenda, I always want to echo what you're saying. I think, people go to LinkedIn first. I mean, that is kind of your initial place where, and I'd like you to expand on what you just said based on, I find that sometimes people who don't use LinkedIn, people who come want to see somebody who's relevant, who's real time, who has current credibility. So it doesn't matter that maybe in your bio, it says that you sold a company 30 years ago and did something great 10 years ago and did something unbelievable 5 years ago. If you haven't posted something that educates and makes somebody smarter within the last 7 to 14 business days, then you are not
relevant.
You're not relevant.
What have you done for me lately?
Correct.
Yeah, what have you done for me?
So can you talk on that? And I just want to kind of link it to something that you said earlier, which is it's not that you're going necessarily backwards, but you're maybe not converting that one extra person that you can quantify to a large sum of money. of landing a client. So it's kind of like what you said earlier. What am I actually missing by not doing it?
Right.
Can you comment on all that?
Yeah, so that a lot of little mini questions kind of inside there. So I'm going to start first with your LinkedIn profile is not really about you.
Yeah.
Okay. It's about you as it relates to your target audience. So when you take that approach, your about statement isn't your life story. I was born in a small town in Des Moines, Iowa, and I was the youngest of four. Like, who cares? Like, they want to know right away in your about, if you want to keep the right people on your profile, I should say, in the top of your about statement, you should be talking about what do you do, who do you help, what do you help them with, and then how can they get a hold of you if they're interested in doing business with you. Then you can go into some of the backstory. I created Meller Marketing because, and here's the bulleted list of our products and services. So when you're using that audience focused approach to writing your profile and stacking information in there, it's going to become a magnet for the right people. It's also going to become that reverse magnet. It's going to repel the wrong people off of your profile, which is okay. And I think, going back to your earlier point of LinkedIn, there's so much noise on there now and it's hard to get visibility. I always come back to, are you posting information that is for your ideal target audience? And when I'm posting, John and Jeff, I'm trying to reach one person. That's my goal. I'm trying to reach one person. So I'm writing it as if I'm sitting across the table at the coffee shop talking to you, to one person. I'm using a conversational approach. I'm using you language. Have you ever noticed that, as opposed to saying, I was doing this the other day, right? So I'm using language that I'm speaking to you, and then I'm ending with some type of a call to action to pull you in. Now, I'm all about the use of AI for productivity and all that other stuff, but I don't personally like it as a replacement for creating posts because they seem a little bit artificial and generic and robotic at times. And I get that for some people, they struggle with content. If you're using AI, make sure that you read it and think about, if you're sitting across the table from someone, would you say those words out loud? I would never use the words treasure trove, for example. So why would I use them in a post, an AI generated post? But using that conversational
very specific
approach, right? Yeah. Using that conversational approach, inviting engagement. And then when someone does comment, I comment back, because if somebody's sitting next to me at the coffee shop and they say something to me, I don't just pat them on the head and walk away, which is what liking their comment is, right? I turn to them and I say, thanks, John. I'm glad you found this tip helpful. How's business going for you so far? I'm going to ask them something to keep that conversation going in there. Did I answer your question? I kind of meandered a little bit myself in there.
You did answer all the questions. I just want to go back to one question I asked earlier and see if you have an answer for this one. How many times do people need to see your content in their feed before they realize you're actually posting content?
Right.
Yeah, that's a really good point.
That's a gut question.
I'm going to answer this question with some different paths on here, because there's different things I've read. It takes like 7 communication touch points, and how many different times that people have to hear about you. And I think that might also be influenced by, if Jon Dwoskin mentioned Brenda Meller, and then all of a sudden you saw Brenda Meller's post coming up in your LinkedIn homepage feed. It probably doesn't take you 7 times, because you're like, oh my gosh, I just heard about her from John, right?
You see another connection.
You see and John has baked in credibility. So when you see it, he's like, oh my gosh, I just heard about her from, it's like hearing us about a celebrity and then seeing them on your favorite TV show. You're like, I know that person out of there. And we can't necessarily control too much of the homepage feed. We can, when we engage with people, like, comment, reply, that tells the algorithm we want to see more of the right people. But LinkedIn is pushing different people into our homepage feed all the time. And it used to be the people that you interacted with the most that you would see in there. Now they're balancing that with some of the people that you interact with the most, but now they're dropping in new content from new people, new connections all the time. So what I encourage people to do is, like, before you post every week, go and invite like 10 people to connect with you. And maybe engage with some of their posts as well, because that kind of warms up the algorithm, warms them up to you. And that way you're getting more relevant people who are looking at your posts in the homepage feed. Keeping in mind, it used to be, and I don't know if the data points are different, but it was like, when you post on LinkedIn, they're only going to share that initial post with, like, I heard 2 to 10% of your total connections and followers. Now, if people engage, they're going to show it to more people. If nobody engages, because it's a sales post, then it's going to die a quick death and nobody's going to see it at all, right? So we try to, like, do a blend of content, But we want to like kind of pay attention to what's happening in the algorithm, commenting back or liking or whatever. Every interaction with your post is going to push down into the homepage feed to get more and more people to see it. And the reality is, Jon, even if I were to say you need to post, one time every business day for a week, the reality is that the average person isn't going on LinkedIn every single day. And they might be going on 9 a.m. on a Monday and then not again until 2 p.m. on a Thursday, and they're going to miss your next 3 to 4 posts. So I recommend that you post as often as is manageable for you. If it's once a week, that's okay. Making sure that you're looking at the comments and replies, both engaging back, but then inviting people who are second and third level to connect with you, maybe returning some of those favors. And not get so hung up in a checklist of having 7 points of communication to try to get to that person. Control what you can control. But then as you start to see those insights, meaning if I start seeing Jon Dwoskin regularly liking my post, but he's never commenting, maybe I send him a direct message. Or maybe even better yet, I go into my voice app, my direct messages on the phone on the LinkedIn app, and I send him a voice message. Hey, Jon, I'm glad you're seeing my content is so helpful. Let me know if you'd ever like to jump on a call and chat sometime. Now that's really going to break through more so than the 7 points of posts that are out on there. Does that help?
Sure.
Yeah, that was great.
All right, we're done then, I guess.
I have one last question.
Yeah.
What if you're a non-engager? Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Not that that's me.
Yeah.
I'm just saying if you're on LinkedIn, you have somebody managing your stuff and like going through things, like how do you, if like you're not somebody who's going to personally engage with the audience on a regular basis,
Yeah.
do you not have success? You have to be, on, once a day, post something once a day. Do you have to, like what are some tips for people who are not, sitting there managing their stuff, on a regular daily basis?
Okay, so I'm going to say you're going to get the most out of LinkedIn if you do it yourself. And I'm referring to your personal profile and activity and building your network. And I get that there are some executives that have their assistant do that for them, or they outsource it to an agency. So I'm not talking to those people. I'm talking to the average mortal like you and I and Jon on the call here.
Sure.
Company pages are different. You can certainly outsource that or have a team member do it for you, but you're going to get the most out of LinkedIn if it's you yourself who are using it. And you do not need to spend hours a day on LinkedIn. You can spend 15 minutes a day on LinkedIn. We all have 24 hours. You can find 15 minutes in your day to spend on LinkedIn. And if it can't every single business day, spend 1 to 2 days of the week on LinkedIn, and you'll get more out of it than not spending any time on there at all.
That's great.
Yeah. Wonderful.
Brenda, tell before we go into a quick speed round, tell everybody who your ideal clients are and where they can connect with you.
Yeah, awesome. So my ideal target audience are individuals who are self-employed, coaches, consultants, course creators, small business owners, etc. In addition to executives and people who manage B2B sales teams. I do a combination of services, including one-to-one coaching. I do team training, specializing in social selling on LinkedIn. And I also have some online courses and programs as well. If you're interested in learning more, you can go to mellermarketing.com. Or just find me on LinkedIn. It's Brenda Meller, M-E. It's like Keller, but with an M on LinkedIn.
I love it. I love it. All right. So,
by the way, you're good at that.
Yeah, that was perfect.
I mean, if I wasn't,
30 seconds.
I'd be here doing, right?
That was a perfect.
Amazing. Really good.
Yeah,
really good.
Appreciate that.
10 out of 10. Brenda, a book that you read in the last year that would complement helping everybody grow their LinkedIn.
I'm going to say my friend Annette Richmond wrote a book, Mastering Short Form Video Content. I still owe her an Amazon review, but I learned tips from her like every single week on different things that I should be doing on video and different video techniques as well.
Oh, good.
I have one also. Favorite quote?
A year from now, you wish you had started today.
That's a good one. That's time to plant a tree.
I really like that one.
Yeah.
Everyone procrastinates, including myself, and why wait? So I think that's amazing. Love it.
All right, last question, Brenda. Finish your sentence. One thing everybody can do, 1 minute a day on LinkedIn to get started, so they don't feel initially overwhelmed, is
scroll through your homepage feed and find people that you know and give them a like or a comment. You could do that in 1 minute.
Good. I like it. Brenda, I love talking to you about LinkedIn. And it's been a bit since I have gone through my stuff with you. I go through it every day. So I think I'm going to sign up for the VIP package, which is a great package. Just tell everybody what that is.
Yeah, so the VIP package begins with me doing a profile audit. I review your profile from top to bottom, grab screen captures, and make recommendations on all the areas that could require a little bit of spicing up. We also do a 2-hour coaching call together, followed by a 30-minute accountability session about a month after. It's your good phone a friend time, and it also keeps you accountable to the investment you're making in yourself. Both of those calls I record and I send you playbacks and any additional resources that you need that might come up in the coaching session.
Yeah, I've done a bunch of those. They've been great. I feel like I need a updated one.
Refresher. Yeah. Can I give your listeners 2 tips too? Because there's
3. Yeah.
I could probably come up with 3. So a couple things are changing on the I can think of 3. A couple things are changing on the platform right now, and LinkedIn's really infamous for not telling us. So I want to let people know. The first is inside your top header card on LinkedIn, under your city, your area, your region rather, you might have a website link that's listed in there. If you do have one, don't change it because they are removing that feature. The people that have it, you get to keep it for now. If you don't have one, you can't add it in. And if you try to edit, it will go away. Okay, so that's
good because I have it in mind. Visit my website.
Don't touch it.
I won't touch it.
Don't touch it. And they won't even tell you at the time that you touch it. If you edit it, it's going to go away. So don't touch it. Leave it in there. If you have it being sent to a place that it's an event or something that's going to be outdated, set up a redirect to point people to where you want them to go is my advice there. Okay. Second thing is they are starting now to really prioritize video, especially vertical video like that, up and down style of video. And you're seeing a lot more, especially on the LinkedIn mobile app. So if you haven't done a video yet, I highly recommend giving video a try. It doesn't need to be overly produced. It can be just a selfie style video introducing yourself. So that's something that they're really starting to lean into. And I highly recommend doing video on there. The third thing is in the past year, they've removed the ability for the free basic account holders to add a personal note to every single LinkedIn invitation. You can only add 5 invitations per month now. So if you're using the free basic version, don't waste invitation notes on people that know you well. But do make sure that you're using those 5 invitation credits because that's really going to help you to grow your LinkedIn network.
It's great.
Okay. Wonderful.
Brenda,
thank you so much.
Yeah.
Appreciate you being on. Amazing. Thank you. Thank you.
Always a pleasure. And
great for us to hear. We've had conversations in different platforms and just always great to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I want to commend you, Jeff, for being parked in your car while we're doing this video.
I parked all the time. I parked.
You're setting an example from people by being in your car, but being
there's 7 neighbors that are out here looking at me like, what the hell are you robbing me right now? But
but you're safe and you're demonstrating.
I wanted to be focused on this whole thing. So
I appreciate that. Yeah.
One last question. I'm going to end with this, Brenda. I know I said, but one thing everybody can do to tap into what they're good at.
Oh gosh, think about the things that come easy to you. Right? Yep. Like for me, it's always been marketing. Like I know marketing, I can give you tips. I mean, things that it doesn't require a whole lot of effort. And I think, is there a need in the market for that? If you can find somebody willing to pay for that, even better. That's my tip for you.
I agree. Jeff, what about you?
Amazing.
People.
I think for me, it's just like figuring out, like sitting down and actually taking the time to identify it, like actually sitting down and like, thinking to yourself, where I always go to, what am I not good at? Because it helps me find where, the things that I might be good at. So, taking the time to spend with yourself and really identify is a big thing for me.
Yeah. I'll add to, I want to just comment, Brenda, I think your piece of, sometimes what comes easily to you and what you love, you think it comes easily to everybody, but it really doesn't. And for me, that took a while to kind of figure that piece out. And I would say the routine of kind of daily meditation helps me kind of stay in the space to know what I'm good at and to kind of get rid of the dust. All right, this is great. Think community, thank you so much. Jeff Gunsberg, tell everybody what you do and who your ideal clients are.
Oh yes, you know what? I'm with Title Connect, and my ideal clients are pretty much everybody out there: brokers, mortgage bankers, credit unions, banks, realtors, all the good stuff. And anytime you have a question about your house, your building, any property that you might own, that's what we're good at, and we like to find solutions to problems. So yeah,
great.
Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm Jon Dwoskin, business coach, jondwoskin.com. All right, Brenda.
Best on earth. He's my coach, so I wouldn't be here if he wasn't.
Jeff, thanks. Brenda, thanks. This was great. I appreciate it. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, guys. It was fun.
Yeah, appreciate it.